Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Right, so we are going to start in a few minutes. Wait, let me share my screen. Okay, so a rainy afternoon to everyone. So let me check first our attendance. Okay, so all in all, you are sinong absent ngayon? 21 tayo. So minus 2, 19 kasi dalawa yung device ko. Okay, alright. Okay, so we shall start now. Since we are going to move forward, so I hope that you have already finished our discussion or our activities with the past lessons, because the link and all of those activities posted in the Google Classroom will expire at 12 p.m. Okay, so make sure that all of you have finished answering all of them. Okay, because you won't be able to go back once they have expired. All right, so let's continue with our discussion. So before we start with our new topic, let's have first a recap of what you have learned in the previous lesson. Okay, so I have here, type here the link. Okay, I'll be sending you the link so that you could uh, type in your response now with the previous lesson. So type in your what you have learned in our previous lesson. So what have you learned in the last week's lesson? Okay, so click on the link that I have written on our chat screen and type in your responses. Can you access the link? So no response yet. Ha have you accessed the link or not? Okay, so we have one response here. I've learned that all we use in our daily life are made of minerals. Okay, very good. What else? So previously, we have learned about the basic the characteristics of minerals. Okay, that minerals are essential to us. Yes, that's correct. Minerals are useful to Earth, okay, and also for other organisms, okay, to our daily life. And we do not notice it, but we actually everywhere you could see minerals. Okay, we encounter all of them in our daily lives. All right, so that's great that you have learned something significant that can be used to our daily living. Right. Okay. So we also know the characteristics of the minerals and that they are indispensable, found in the house. Okay. All right. Okay, so very good. Now for today, we have another activity. Okay, so can you see this picture on the screen? So just continue the activity that you have, the link that you have a while back, and click on the rock formation that can be found in the Philippines. Okay, so just put a pin on those places that are found in the Philippines. Okay, so we can see that a lot of votes on the Apo Island rock formation. Okay. Okay. So most of them have these pins, right? But yes, that's correct. All of these are all found in the Philippines. Okay, so they are very picturesque attractions, right? So all of them can be found in the different regions in the Philippines. So, but have you ever wondered how these were formed? So later on, we will be discussing how do these rock formations are produced or formed. Okay, so the objectives of this session is to describe the component of rocks, differentiate the type of rocks, and explain how rocks are formed. Okay. Now, geologists categorize or define rocks as mixture of different mineral crystals. That's why this topic is the continuation of the previous one because we have discussed the basics about minerals, and these minerals are the main ingredients of this rock. Like for example, you have these three different types of minerals. You have the quartz, the biotite, and the feldspar. So if you combine these three, you would actually produce a granite, which is a rock, okay, an igneous rock. So all these three minerals were combined to produce a rock. So the basic ingredient of the rocks are these minerals. Now we also have these minerals such as the pyroxene, the olivine, that would produce as a basalt. And a basalt is another example of an igneous rock. So as you can see, of different colors, they would still produce a new appearance of this rock. Okay, so let's talk about how rocks are formed. So geologists have categorized the rocks into three. So you have the igneous, the sedimentary, and the metamorphic rocks. So I believe that you are all familiar with these types of rocks because I think ever since you were in elementary, this was already being introduced. Okay, so let's go first with the first type of rock, which is the igneous rock. Okay, so can you tell me something about the igneous rock? So who would like to go first to answer or to tell us something about the igneous rock? Okay, you may unmute your microphone if you want to answer. Who would like to describe what an igneous rock is? Or I will call randomly.
Ma'am,
Okay,
halos galing
Azalan.
po sila sa ano, ma'am, sa mga bulkan, ma'am.
Okay, very good, Azalan. So, igneous rocks came from lava or magma. So, they are usually formed from any volcanic activity. Okay, so as an example, we have this liquid lava that became frozen lava as a rock that turns into a basalt. So, as you can see from its previous appearance, that it is liquefied, as soon as it is okay, that is a solid. How do we make an igneous rock? Okay, so here's the recipe on making this igneous rock. So first, you take some minerals and gases that is naturally found on the soil. Like, for example, you have the quartz, the biotite, and the feldspar. Then, place it in a high heat for about 2000 degrees Celsius until all of these minerals become liquefied. And then these rocks will change into a liquid phase, which is what you call as the magma. Now, remove the heat. So it will let the magma cool and crystallize until it forms these two types of rocks, which is the extrusive and the intrusive rocks. Then there you have your igneous rocks. Now, speaking of intrusive and extrusive igneous rocks, are you familiar with intrusive and extrusive igneous rocks? So, Azalon, can you call a classmate to tell us something or how can you differentiate an intrusive from an extrusive igneous rock?
Yung intrusive po, ma'am. Ito po yung,
Azalon, you will call a classmate
ma'am,
to
okay
to
po, ma'am.
to answer that. Thank you.
Si ano po, ma'am, JC, ay Giancarlo po, ma'am.
Okay, John Carlo. Okay, actually from the word, you have the keyword in and X. So what does it mean by intrusive and extrusive? What's the difference? JC, are you there? Mahina po ba ang signal? Can you hear me? Hello?
Naglalag ata siya, ma'am.
Naglalag? O sige. So, can you call other classmate as anon?
Si Kenan na lang po, ma'am.
Sige. Kenan. Okay. Ano yung pagkakaiba ng intrusive and extrusive igneous rock?
Ma'am?
What's the difference between the intrusive and the extrusive igneous rock?
Ma'am?
Mm-hmm. You have an idea?
Actually po, ma'am, wala po.
Sige. Don't worry, I'll help you. Now, ano ibig sabihin ng word na in? Sa Tagalog, ano yung in?
Ma'am?
Nasa loob, ma'am.
Nasa loob. Okay, so since you have mentioned a while back that igneous rocks came from what? Saan kasi galing yung igneous rock?
Sa volcano po.
Okay, sa volcano. So, naturally, volcanoes have this activity, volcanic activity, which is what you call as the, anong tawag doon? Ang vulkan, pwede siyang sumabog, right? But before it erupts, what happens first? Ano muna yung na-form sa ilalim, sa loob? Ano yung
Lava
nasa
po.
loob? Yung sa loob,
Magma.
magma. Very good. So, yung magma, once it's produced and it did not exploded or erupted and it cooled down, ano sa tingin mo siya, intrusive or extrusive igneous rock? Na. Hello? Do you think that the magma produces an intrusive or an extrusive igneous rock? Okay, Adrian. Sige, may idea si Adrian.
Yung magma, ma'am, from the
Okay.
inside of the volcano, ma'am. Intrusive siya, ma'am, kasi po sa loob po siya nag-form.
Very good. Very well said. So that is what we call as intrusive because it comes from the inside or within the crust or the mantle. Now, these rocks have large visible crystals because it is cooled slowly. Okay. Sige. Sino sa inyo ang may idea kung bakit kaya mas malalaki ang crystals na makikita sa intrusive than the extrusive? Anyone who has an idea?
Ma'am, kasi po yung mga
Mhm.
lumalabas, ma'am, limitado lang po, ma'am. Kesa po sa loob, marami po
Okay.
talaga.
All right, very good, Asalon. That is because of the fact that inside of the crust in the mantle, that's where you can find these rich minerals. And also because of the time of the cooling. That's why it usually has this large visible crystal. So do you have an example here, which is a granite and a gabbro? So ayan, nakikita nyo, they are both of different colors, but they are actually both came from the magma or found within the crust or the mantle. Okay, thank you. So how do intrusive rocks forms? So you have here, the magma that punches through the volcano, and once it erupts or it doesn't erupt, then that's the time that it will become crystallized. Okay. Now the second one is the extrusive igneous rocks. Now if the okay, may nagjo-join. Ay, may nagjo-join pa ba? Ayan. Okay na? All right. So if the intrusive igneous rocks are from the inside, now you have the extrusive igneous rocks. Okay. Hold on for a second. Hello? Sorry, because the distribution and retrieval of modules is currently ongoing. All right, so where are we now? Okay, so for the extrusive igneous rocks, so since comparing it from the intrusive that is found from within, then this one is found when the magma uh, explodes from the volcano and it becomes now the lava. Now, these are formed usually on top of the crust, and these have usually small, hard crystals. It is very difficult to see with the naked eye. They have crystals, but they are very minute compared to the intrusive igneous rocks. And as you could see, they have this what we call as the pores or yung parang butas-butas. Okay, so as you can see, some do not have a crystal compared with the intrusive igneous rocks. Okay, so yung mga ito, yan, meron siyang mga shiny parts. But then again, they still have crystals, but they are not as visible as with the intrusive. Bakit kaya? So what do you think happens? Have you ever observed volcanic eruption from the videos that you have seen? So what can you observe with the lava that has flown out of the volcano? So since lava is very hot, okay, so ano yung tendency niya? Pag hot siya, it's like, it looks like what? When it's erupted. Sino yung last na sumagot? Adrian, can you call a classmate?
Si Daniel Villa, ma'am.
Okay, Daniel. All right. So, have you ever observed a volcanic activity or an eruption before?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, so what have you observed with the lava as soon as it flows out of the mouth of the volcano?
Yung parang ano po siya, ma'am. Medyo malapot po siya sa paglabas po sa volcano, ma'am.
Okay, very good. So that parang malapot consistency, meron din siyang parang boiling, tama ba? Does it look like it's boiling?
Yes
Yung parang
po,
meron
ma'am.
siyang mga bubbles, yan. Kaya ganyan yung itsura ng igneous rock na ito. Like the left one is the pumice. Okay, so this pumice, as you can see, has a lot of holes or sponge-like structure. That is because outside, it's being exposed to air. No, like when we are trying to boil water or kapag ka nagbo-boil tayo ng champurado or ng lelot mais or ano ba, lugaw, yan. So, di ba, mapapansin nyo, meron siyang parang mga bubbles na nagpiprick out of the base of the soup or that food. So, same thing as with that. So, kapag nag-solidify siya, it came with an interaction of this oxygen. It has a time that it is being solidified. Nagkakaroon ng parang holes within it. Okay? So, that is what we call as the extrusive igneous rock. All right? Now, how do extrusive igneous rocks form? So from the magma inside, again, it punches through the volcano, and once it explodes, the lava will flow outside, and therefore flowing out of the volcano and coming in contact with other rocks, smaller rocks, and also with the gases outside. That's what makes it more porous for the extrusive igneous rocks. All right. Now, the second type is the sedimentary rock. Okay, Daniel, can you call a classmate and tell us something about the sedimentary rock?
Jasper po.
Okay, Jasper.
Ma'am.
Okay, so can you tell us something about sedimentary rocks? Where do you think they came from?
Ano po, ma'am? Galing po sila sa, kunwari po, sa hangin, ma'am, or sa yelo. Basta po sa something ganun po siya, ma'am.
Okay.
Yun lang po yung idea ko.
Alright. Okay, so that's correct pa rin kasi with the wind, comes with the wind, anong meron sa hangin? Kapag nahanginan ng isang lupa, pag ang lupa nahanginan siya, what does it brings, Jasper? Or pag sa sand, right? Pag nasa beach ka, pag humangin, ano yung sumasama?
Yung mga buhangin po, ma'am.
Yung ang tawag doon yung mga sediments, okay? Or very good, yung mga buhangin. So actually, from the word itself, the sedimentary rocks came from the sediments, okay, that you have mentioned. So when you talk about sediments, these are pieces of rocks, shells, and dead organisms, okay? So they become cemented together and stuck together as one through the different weathering processes. So an example of that are the sandstone, the limestone, discal, and conglomerate. So observing this physical appearance of this sedimentary rocks is very different with the igneous rock. Now, let's take a look on how do sedimentary rocks form. So since you have this, they usually are formed at the surface of the soil. So when there's weathering, pag umulan, the water flows into the soil and it erodes. It carries away all of the sand, the dirt, and the rocks down to the ocean. Then it will follow sedimentation and deposition, and the sediments will worn away from the sea or from the ocean, and it will undergo compaction and cementation by the time that it gathers all together, and that's the time that they form this what we call as the sedimentary rock. So you have these processes: the weathering and erosion, the sedimentation and deposition, the compaction, and the cementation, which are all stuck together. Now, the last type is the metamorphic rock. Okay, Jasper, can you call a classmate and tell us something about metamorphic rocks?
Si ano po, ma'am? Si Angeline po.
Okay, Angeline. Okay, can you tell us something about metamorphic rocks?
Hello po, ma'am.
Hello.
Based on my idea lang po, metamorphic rocks are, nagpo-form po siya, pag high pressure po, ganun.
Okay, very good. So it forms, no, actually from the word, thank you very much, Angeline, from the word morph, no? Morph means to change. Parang sa Power Rangers, it's morph in time, di ba? Yung mga Power Rangers, pag hindi sila nagiging Power Rangers, they are just regular teenagers. But when I say it's morph in time, then that's the time that they change into superheroes, like Transformers. Okay, so since they form or they transform from one type of rock to the other, then it means that they have been undergoing heat and pressure that changed them through time. So these are previously igneous and sedimentary rocks, but due to high heat and pressure that has been pushed down the Earth's surface, then that's the time that they become a metamorphic rock. Okay, so these rocks has this unique feature that has foliations or clusters. So how do we make a metamorphic rock? So you get some preformed rock, either igneous or sedimentary, then bury it underground, add heat, and then once it mixes with the solidified or with the liquefied form, you add more igneous rocks, squeeze to foliate, and recool or cool and recrystallize, and that's time that the metamorphic rock will be formed. So it transforms from a granite into a gneiss, the one that you can see on your left. So it has this foliation or lining of the minerals. Now the analogy of the formation of the metamorphic rock is like with a foot stepping on these stacks of cards. So the pressure and the heat leads to this metamorphic rock. The foot signifies the pressure and the heat, while the stack of cards are the minerals that has been squished, forming this foliation. Okay, so as time passes by, these are minerals are scattered, but eventually, because of high heat and pressure, then that's the time that it forms these lines. Okay, so the crystals are large, and then once it underwent metamorphism, then it becomes squished or linear in structure. Now these are examples of metamorphic rocks. So you could see that there are patterns with their minerals. They have these straight layers of crystals. Now let's take a look one by one with the key characteristic of igneous rocks. So we all know that rocks are everywhere, right? So whenever you go outside or even inside your house, you could see a rock, no, that is just there. But we usually take them for granted. But did you know that we could actually identify a rock based on its unique features? So we could identify them only up to their basic category, but not into the to the more specific level because we are not professional geologists. But basing on its characteristic or its general characteristic, we could say that this one is an igneous, a sedimentary, or a metamorphic rock. So for igneous rocks, so what do you think would be their unique feature? Angeline, can you call a classmate? So based from our discussion a while back, what can you tell us about the characteristic or the unique feature of an igneous rock? Sige, Angeline, can you call a classmate?
Si Joy Shell po.
Si... Sino daw?
Joy Shell
Joy
po.
Shell. Okay. Joy Shell, narinig mo ba kami? I believe mahina din yata yung connection niya. Joy Shell, can you hear us?
Ma'am, hello po.
Ayan, okay. So, ano sa tingin mo yung unique feature ng igneous rock? Based doon sa ating discussion. Do you have an idea?
Ano po, mas crystallized po siya.
Okay, very good. So, they are crystallized. Okay. So, can you see these two types of rocks? So, the one on your left is a rhyolite, and the one on your right is the granite. So based from their appearance, they really look different, right? So the one on your right has these specks of minerals, while on your left, it's a little bit smoother. But what is common with them is that they are both porous, but the crystals are not that visible with the rhyolite compared with the granite. Okay. So ang key characteristic ng igneous rock is that they have these pores, or they look like sponge, no? But with the crystal minerals in it. Okay? So ayan ang ating key characteristic for the igneous rock. Okay, how about the second one? Joy Shell, can you call a classmate to tell us something about sedimentary rock, the key characteristic or the unique feature?
Risa po.
Sino
Risa
daw?
po. Si Risa po.
Visa. Okay. So what can you tell us about the unique feature of the sedimentary rock?
Ano po sila, ma'am? Pieces of rock po sila na nagsama-sama together po.
Alright. So, based from the appearance, ano yung parang itsura niya? Parang pag kunyari, nakakita ka ng bato, ay malalaman mo na sedimentary rock siya kasi anong meron sa kanya?
Yung may mga parang ano po sila, naghalo-halo po yung mga minerals. Tapos may mga minerals po na nagsama-sama na hindi po magkakatulad.
Okay, very good. So, you can see this tiny sediments or pieces of rocks that has been glued together. That's why they look parang ano sila, maganda nga yung itsura nila, halo-halo sila compared with the igneous and the metamorphic rock. Okay, so take a look at the pieces of rocks that you have here. So, bakit kaya sa tingin niyo iba ang shape ng rock ng conglomerate and breccia? The one on your left is the conglomerate and the one on your right is the breccia. So, do you have an idea why is it that these two rocks having this similar structure, that they have these tiny pieces of rocks glued together as one, but still they don't have this edge? The one on your left has this circular edge, and the one on your right has this jagged edge, or they have this parang ano sila, patusok na edge. Riza, can you call a classmate?
Si RV po.
Okay, RV.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so ano kaya sa tingin mo yung reason why do rocks have these different shapes? No, even if they are of they are just the same as sedimentary rocks. What do you think is the reason? Bakit sila nag-iiba?
Siguro po sa flow po ng water, ma'am.
Sa ano?
Sa flow po ng water.
Water? Ano sabi mo? Sa water?
Yung bilis po ng flow ng water.
Okay, very good. Because of the pressure on the water. So, the one on your left, thank you, RV, can be found on riverbeds. No? And the other one is found on flash floods. So, comparing the two, which among the two has a higher current or higher pressure in terms of the movement of the sediments? So, dito, makikita natin na mas mabilis ang movement sa flash floods, no? And usually sa riverbeds, mas matagal ang forming time before it is produced. That's why it has this circular structure. So para silang naliha, no? Naliha sila sa ibang rocks. That's why it looks circular compared with the breccia having this jagged edge. Okay? So these are some of the, aside from the one that has been described a while back, these are the key characteristics of the sedimentary rocks. So first is that they have these particles or shells that has been stuck together. So the one that you can see on your screen on the top of that is a sandstone. So this sandstone has these pieces of sand that are stuck together. Yung meron tayong makikitang shells then together that is found on the ocean. So normally, sedimentary rocks are not shiny compared with the igneous and the metamorphic rock. So since it doesn't have much minerals in it, no, that's why it looks dull or not shiny. It also has straight layers and mostly they have this fossils. So ito yung mga rocks na ginagamit to study history of an organism. So if you could see fossils imprinted on that rock, then they could tell ang age ng isang organism. Or any organism, may it be plant, may it be an animal, or fungi, or any living organisms that is imprinted on that rock. That is because of the layer of sedimentation. So, kapag namatay ang isang organism, ibubury siya sa lupa, at yung lupa na yon, it will undergo weathering, compaction, cementation, and yung imprints ng living organism, may it be a bone, no, yun yung usually na nagsistay, and that's the time that the scientists could study further of that organism. Now, in terms of metamorphic rocks, since metamorphic rocks are once igneous or sedimentary rocks, so they have this characteristic that is similar with either the sedimentary or the igneous rock. But comparing it, it has this unique feature, which is what we call as the foliation, which they are aligned in parallel layers. Notice that the crystals has been squished and into mostly straight lines. So this is an example of how rocks undergo metamorphism. So the one on your right is a rock called the granite. So as you could see, the minerals are arranged in random. But as time passes by, due to addition of heat and pressure, these crystals have formed this what you call as foliation, and therefore producing this lined up crystals, and it has been transformed now into a gneiss. From a granite, it is being transformed into gneiss, which is a type of a metamorphic rock. So, ang mahirap i-identify sa mga rocks is the metamorphic rock because of the fact that they have the similar characteristics with the igneous and the sedimentary rocks. And we all know that these are all found, or they are all preformed rocks before it will become a metamorphic rock. Okay, so these are examples naman of non-foliated rocks. So aside from the fact that they form foliations, there are also metamorphic rocks that do not form foliations, and that is what we call as non-foliated rocks. So they just form clusters of what do you call minerals within it. So an example of that is this quartzite. Okay, so to have this guide, no, I have here this diagram so that we could easily identify a rock. So generally, we need to know what characteristics of the rocks are. So generally, all rocks have visible particles in it. May it be a mineral crystal or a sand or other sediments that can be found on the rock. And then, to identify further if it's an igneous, a sedimentary, or a metamorphic rock, then you take a look at the rock if it has pores. So, may butas-butas ba siya? Does it look like a sponge-like? No? So, even though you have here on the screen that na very visible ang kanyang pores, there are some rocks that has smaller pores than that. So, they look a little smoother than the one that you have here on the screen. Okay, so if it has pores, then automatically it is the igneous rock. But if it's a non-porous, then we could categorize them further into two. You have the sedimentary and you have the metamorphic rock. Now, how can we differentiate one from the other? For the sedimentary rock, if you touch the rock, then you can see that there are some particles that has been worn off with that rock. But if you can feel the texture of the metamorphic rock and it does not break off or wear off easily, and it is shinier compared with the sedimentary rock, then that is a metamorphic rock. So aside from that, your indicator for identifying that it is a metamorphic rock is that it has this what we call as the foliation, or the bands or the lines that has been formed out of the metamorphism process. Okay, so this is your guide to identifying the organism. So I will be posting an assignment in the Google Classroom, no? So you may use this PowerPoint as your guide in identifying rocks. So I have here an example of rocks. So sayang wala tayong laboratory, you could see actual rocks. Meron tayong sa laboratory ng mga example ng bato na kung saan makikita ninyo kung ano talaga yung mga igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rock. Okay, so you have here. So ano sa tingin niyo yung rock na yan? Sige nga. Is it an igneous, a sedimentary, or a metamorphic rock? Okay, RV. Si RV ba yung last na sumagot? Can you call a classmate to identify this rock?
Si Azilon po, ma'am.
Azilon?
Opo.
Oh, sige. Azilon. Ano sa tingin mo yung rock na yan? Sige, ipi-play ko pa siya ulit. Nag-blurred out lang yan. Ayan.
Ano po siguro siya, ma'am? Metamorphic po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. That is a metamorphic rock. Paano mo nasabing metamorphic rock siya?
Wala po siyang pores, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
No visible sediments, ma'am.
Okay, very good. And the major characteristics you could see is that you could see the, ano yan? Ano kasi tawag dyan?
Yun pong foliated layer.
Okay, very good. The foliations. Yan. So yan, an example, alam niyo kung anong bato yan? That is what we call as the slate. Alam niyo yung slate? Ginagamit siya nung unang panahon na pangsulat, no, dahil wala pang papel noon. No, they use the slate or the rock to engrave yung sa Ten Commandments. Naalala niyo yun? Yung parang ginagamit ng mga Greek in writing or in carving messages or information. Yan ang metamorphic rock. Okay, very good. Azalan, can you call a classmate to identify the second rock?
Gusto po yata sumagot ni Darrell.
Sige. Darrell. Sige. Eto, panoorin mo muna. Eto, yung pangalawang rock. Ayan. Pakadali. Ano yan?
Igneous po, ma'am. Kasi may butas-butas po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Ano sa tingin mo yung batong yan? May alam ka ba sa mga rocks, names ng rocks?
Hindi ko po alam na.
Ayan.
Parang nakasayin ng mga langgam.
Parang binahayan ng mga langgam, no? Okay, very good. That is an igneous rock because of the pores, no? And it has crystals in it as well. So, para siyang meteorite, no? It looks like a meteorite, but actually, it is an igneous rock. Itong mga rocks na to, yung sa video niya, yan yung actual rocks na nasa lab natin. So, binidyo ko na lang sila para makita ninyo yung mga sample. Sample lang naman yung kinuha ko. So, this one is an example of a pumice. Alam niyo yung ginagamit sa hilod? Panghilod, pag naliligo. Yan, ginagamit yung pumice. Okay. Next, Daryl, can you call a classmate?
Si ano po, si Giancarlo po, Serrano
Sino?
po.
Sino daw? Si
Giancarlo Serrano po.
Giancarlo.
Alam niyo po yan.
Mahina yata yung connection ni Giancarlo. Giancarlo, can you
Okay
hear
na po,
us?
ma'am. Okay na
Okay
po.
na. Alright. So, the third one. So, madali na lang kasi nasabi na yung igneous, no? Sige, explain mo na lang yan kung bakit.
Ay, metamorphic po.
Metamorphic? Sure ka? Panoorin mo muna.
Sedi.
Okay.
Sedimentary.
Very good. So, bakit siya sedimentary rock?
Kasi makinis.
Makinis? Ano ba? Dull siya?
Opo.
Ano pa? Ano yung napansin mo doon sa daliri ko? Meron siyang parang dumi.
Marka. Opo.
Oo, marka. Very good. So, that is a sedimentary rock. If the rock wears off easily by just touching them, no? Or you could break them with a hammer, then that's the time that you could tell that it is a sedimentary rock. Thank you very much, JC. Did you know that this rock is the chalk? Ginagamit natin sa chalk. Calcite. This is the source of chalk. Okay, ngayon, wala nang chalk kasi wala kayo ngayon sa classroom. Alright. So, thank you for answering that. So, those are examples of our rocks. Now, to sum it up, okay, we have here a table. Okay. So, igneous rocks, the origin. GC, can you call a classmate to answer the first row? The origin and the characteristic of the igneous rock.
Si Jason po.
Jason.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, can you tell us where do igneous rocks originated and the characteristic?
Yung igneous rocks origin is from beneath the earth, magma, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. And the
Then-
characteristics?
Sponge-like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Jason. So, from the magma or the lava, and also you have the porous with crystallized minerals. For the sedimentary rocks, again, Jason, call a classmate. So, you have the origin na dito. So, what is the characteristic of a sedimentary rock?
Lian,
Jason?
ma'am.
Okay, Lian?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi. All right. So, what is the unique feature of the sedimentary rock?
May mga fossils po sila, ma'am.
Okay. May mga fossils. What else? Yun lang.
Di po sila ganun katigas, ma'am.
Okay. Very good. Di sila ganun ka hard, no? Or matibay. Okay. Thank you very much, Lian. So, aside from that, they have fossils. Ano pa ba? They are dull, hindi sila shiny, and they are weak. No, madali silang ma-break. Okay, Lian, call a classmate for the last one. The characteristic
Jillian,
of
ma'am.
metamorphic. Okay, Jillian. Hi, Jillian.
Hello po, ma'am.
Okay, so can you tell us the unique feature of the metamorphic rock?
For me po, yung mga metamorphic rocks are yung galing po sila sa dalawang naunang type of rocks, which is igneous and sedimentary. Tapos po, meron po silang yung parang lines po, gano'n na parallel po na dahil po sa pressure, gano'n po.
Okay, thank you very much, Jillian. So that lines that you have referred to are the foliation. So they may be foliated or non foliated. Okay, so since you are all familiar now with the unique features of the igneous, sedimentary, and the metamorphic rock, now my question is, how can rocks be of great value to humans? Sa tingin nyo ba, may importance ang rocks sa atin? Kasi ang rocks nakikita natin kahit saan. But do you think that there is really an importance or a value to us humans? Jillian, can you call a classmate? Name one importance of rocks to humans.
Si ano po? Wait lang.
Sige. Yung mga hindi pa natawag.
Si Ate Gwyneth
Okay.
po.
Gwyneth?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. Can you give us one importance of rocks to humans?
Nagagamit po siya ng mga tao, like sa mga bahay po, ganun.
Okay, very good. So it can be used to build constructions. Okay, thank you, Gwyneth. Can you call a classmate? Meron pa bang ibang use ang rocks sa humans?
Carlos po.
Okay, Carlos.
Hi po, ma'am.
Hi. So ano pa ba ang pwedeng, aside from building houses, what else do you think rocks can be of use to humans?
Sa tingin ko po, ma'am, ito po yung naging unang parang lapis or ballpen po.
Okay. Pwede rin kasi yung mga rocks, they contain minerals. That's correct. These can be source of minerals. Okay, thank you very much, Carlos and Jillian, and Gwyneth for answering the question. Now, did you know that igneous rocks contains tin, tungsten, and uranium? And they are used to form or to build or to create these tin cans. Now, for sedimentary rocks are very useful for geologists as they study the history of the earth and also with the organisms. And for the igneous and metamorphic rocks, since they are sturdy compared with the sedimentary rocks, they are used for constructing buildings, roads, tunnels, and houses. Now, the Philippines has very rich rock and mineral resources, such as the gold, the iron ore, the titanium, niobium, zinc, and those materials that has been used to build concretes or asphalts. Okay? Now, so may questions po ba tayo about rocks, the types of rocks, and its origin? Do you have any questions?
None po, ma'am.
Okay, so if there's no question, let's check your understanding with this quizzes. Okay, so ito, live natin siya sasagutan. So kapag nasagutan niyo na to, you can, pwedeng hindi niyo na siya sagutin yung nandun sa ating Google Classroom. So pag nasagutan niyo na to, okay na yun sa Google Classroom. Okay? So enter this code 674725. So enter the quizzes and type in the code 674725.
Ma'am,
Yes?
ino-mark
Enter na po ba?
lang po yung sa Google Classroom, ma'am.
Mark down nyo na lang siya nun.
Thank you.
So, nakapag-enter na ba kayo?
Ma'am?
Ma'am,
Mhm.
invalid po yung lumalabas.
Ano na?
Invalid po yung lumalabas.
Invalid siya. Wait. Okay, so since mahina yung connection, so you will just answer the quizzes on the Google Classroom na lang. Okay? So I will be posting the link. Have you seen my post on the Google Classroom? Not yet.
Nakita na po.
Nakita niyo na. Okay. So, yun na lang muna yung sagutan ninyo for the quizzes part. Okay? And then, click mark as done. Wag niyo na disregard this one that I have sent you. Okay? I have sent a different link no, for the quizzes. Okay? So, make sure no, ang ating, by next week, since November na tayo next week, ang ating deadline for the submission of your activities would be on November 3, which is Tuesday, because November 2 is a special non-working holiday. All right? So just always be updated with our activities on the Google Classroom. Okay? So that's it for today. Do you have any questions so far?
Ma'am, sa classroom na po yung link?
Hindi, wala pa ba? Sasagutan niyo na ba ngayon? I think I have posted it. Wala pa ba? Or hindi pa siya kasi naka-schedule yung mga natin, activities.
Ma'am, kailan daw po yung deadline?
On November 2. All of these activities are scheduled on November 3. Kasi yun din yung day ng submission ng mga modular.
Ma'am, okay na po. Andun na po yung link.
Okay na. Okay, sige. So, just answer them once you're ready. Okay? So, pag na-click nyo kasi yan, make sure na sasagutan nyo na kasi nag-expire yung link niyan. So, kanina, nag-expire siguro kasi kahapon ko pa siya ginawa. So, ngayon, naka-schedule to today. So, that's why if you have clicked on it, make sure you have answered and then click turn in. Alright? So, you have also your assignment, which is pick a rock. So, hanap kayo ng bato sa bahay ninyo, take a picture, attach the file, and describe the characteristics of them based on its porosity, if it's porous, if there are presence of mineral crystals or sand, if it's dull or shiny, if it has foliation or non-foliation. So, leave it NA or blank if hindi naman siya metamorphic rock. And fifth is to identify the type of rock. Okay? So, make sure galing siya sa bahay nyo, Kung hindi kayong kukuha ng picture sa internet. Is that clear?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay. So, that would be all. Thank you all for attending our class and participating in our class today. So, see you again on, ang klase natin is, so since walang Monday, no? Kasi November 2 yon. That would be, Thursday. Okay? Right? Sige. Okay.
Ma'am,
Sige,
may
you
tanong
may...
pa po.
Ay, sige, ano yun, Azulon.
Yes pa po ba yung ma'am? Results? Kasi po, di ba, ma'am, nag-expire po yung
Yung
link po sa quizzes, ma'am. Isisend pa po yung results, ma'am.
Hindi na siya. Automatic siya nare-record sa akin kasi nakalink yung quizzes sa Google Classroom. So, when you have answered them, automatically, nare-record na rin siya sa Google Classroom. Pero you need to also click turn in sa Google Classroom once you're done with answering it so that I know na natapos na kayo. Kasi sa quizzes, halo-halo kayo dyan. Lahat ng Earth and Life. Titingnan ko na lang yung score nyo nun kapag tapos na.
Sige po,
Okay?
ma'am.
Alright. May tanong pa po ba? So, make sure na matatapos niyo siya today hanggang 12 p.m. lang yung sa last week, no? Kung tapos na kayo sa last week, then you're clear. But for this week 4, you have until November 3 to finish all of the activities. Okay? So, please PM me kapag nagkakaroon kayo ng problems with the quizzes so that I could give you a link to answer. Alright? So,
Ma'am?
do you have any questions? Yes, Riza?
Yung dun po sa yung sa assignment po namin ngayon, yung file po, sama po yun isasend yung yung mga characteristic po sa private comment po o sa file na rin po na i-add.
Pwede nyo na siyang isama nasa sa inyo. If you want to make it as a document, pwede rin siya. Google document. Pwede rin siyang picture, tapos private comment. Pwede rin ganon.
Sige
So
po.
you have
Thank
the
you po.
freedom to choose whatever. Kung ano yung comfortable kayo. Okay? May tanong pa po ba? And then meron pa kasi kayong isang activity na sa Google Forms. Make sure that you type in your name and your section so that I know kasi minsan yung iba yung nakakalimutan na lalagyan ng name and nagre-rely lang ako dun sa email address nung sumagot. Okay? Now, also for your reference, meron ba kayong copy ng module? Pwede rin kayo kasing mag-refer sa module for information. No? If you want, I could also upload it here. Kasi usually digital lahat ng ina-upload ko dito sa ating Google Classroom. So if you want, I could post it here. Okay?
Excuse
So,
po.
yes po.
Yun pong material, ma'am, yung copy of yung PowerPoint ko po, hindi po siya ma-access.
Hindi mo siya ma-access?
Opo.
Okay, ganito na lang. I will be creating a Google Drive so that you could view them. Okay ba yun sa inyo? Yung PowerPoint ko kasi, medyo malaki yung file niya. So, I will be uploading them on a Google Drive. Lahat ng mga PowerPoint presentation. Para kahit hindi nyo siya i-download, pwede nyo na-view doon sa Google Drive. Okay, I will be just posting the link on the Google Classroom. Okay?
Okay po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay. Meron pa ba kayong concerns? Okay na? Wala na? Alright, so silence means yes. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for your time. I will be chatting you with regards to our next session. Okay? So, thank you. And
Good day,
have a
ma'am.
great day.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Good
Thank
po.
you.
Good day po.
Thank you po.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Good day po.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.